Perimenopause is the transitional time as someone moves into menopause. And here's the thing, perimenopause can start as early as your 30s. So let's cover what to expect during perimenopause so that you know how to make decisions to support your overall wellness. Hi. My name is Dr. Laura, and on this channel, I help you gain optimal health through knowledge and movement. Menopause is the great equalizer. 50% of the population will have to go through this, and typically it lasts 4 years. But for some individuals, it can last a few months, while others, it lasts up to 10 years. There are lots of reasons why people find themselves in this time. It can be a natural part of aging. As we get older, our estrogen and progesterone start to dwindle off and eventually completely stop cycling. While for other individuals, you can be thrust into this perimenopause and menopause time due to hormone replacement therapy, cancer treatment, hysterectomy, or even some other medical conditions. The symptoms that you experience during perimenopause vary. Sometimes they can be non-existent, very subtle, or extremely over the top. For each individual, they are going to be different. This is honestly what makes it so challenging for people to know that they are in this transitional time period. Symptoms of perimenopause include hot flashes, night sweats, breast or chest tenderness, low sex drive, fatigue, irregular periods, abnormally heavy bleeding, vaginal or middle opening dryness, which sometimes can result in pain with intercourse, urinary leakage from cough, sneeze, laugh, or activity, urinary urgency, mood changes, memory problems, trouble sleeping, and more severe symptoms of PMS or PMDD. Holy crap, that is a ton of things that can happen to the human body. And you want to know what makes me a bit mad is that people think that this is a list of things that they just have to deal with. But here's the thing, you have the ability to make some of the things on this list better. And if you have trouble making them better based on the tips I'm going to give you, you can always find a local physical therapist who specializes in pelvic floor rehabilitation to help you along your journey. So let me take you through a few of the ways that you can fix some of the symptoms I listed above. And make sure that you subscribe to this channel, hit that bell notification so you know when I have new videos coming up, and join my email list because I will be covering all sorts of tips about how you can treat yourself on all of these various social media platforms. In fact, this video was featured in a blog on laurameihofer.com. So make sure you head over to that blog because I also covered some unique tips to fix some of the above symptoms on that blog there as well. The first thing you can address are the irregular periods. Now, you can't necessarily fix this, but I think there is huge value in tracking your cycle. This allows you to communicate better with your healthcare provider who might be able to provide you with some medications or other things to make sure nothing sinister is going wrong or something abnormal. So when you are thinking about tracking your period, there are a few things that you want to make sure that you write down. One, you should write down when your first and last day of your cycle is. Additionally, you should write down about when you start having your cramps, the intensity of these cramps, what any vaginal discharge looks like, and what the color is. Additionally, you could even do a 0 to 10 scale to write down your level of fatigue or any mood disturbances you're having. This gives us a great baseline, and as things change over time, it will help your provider and you realize what's going on. Now, I'm a 35-year-old female at the time of this video. I'd really love to have kiddos one day, and I definitely know I'm starting to bump into this perimenopausal window. So in tracking my cycle, it helps me know if I'm moving into this irregular time of life and if I need to think about fertility or egg type of of preservation things. If that's a goal for you, then tracking your period is great. But even if you're trying to avoid pregnancy or just trying to get more knowledge about your body, tracking your period is a wonderful way to start. If you don't like to do it the standard style of doing a pen and paper, there are a ton of apps out there that help track your monthly flow and even can prompt you with different questions. The next thing you can address on your own is urinary issues. Now, I repeat, the answer is not always strengthening. Say this out loud to yourself. The answer is not always strengthening. There are a ton of things that cause an individual to have urinary difficulties. And one of the biggest things is your diet. Oftentimes we consume things that are irritating to the bladder, which makes us have this urinary frequency and urgency. But don't worry, I went ahead and down in the description box, I included my amazing Beat the Leak handout that you can take yourself through all of the dietary irritants so that you can figure out what are things that are aggravating to your system. Now, the really interesting thing about this is when I was 18, there were things on that list that did not irritate my bladder. But now that I'm 35, there are things that do irritate my bladder. So keep this handy with you so that as you age, if things aren't bugging you now, maybe in a year or two, they will. It's always great to have more information about where you're at today so that you can inform yourself about how things are changing later. The final tip I will share with you has to do with sexual libido. During perimenopause, our estrogen and progesterone are in flux, and eventually in menopause, they completely run out. So when you are going through this perimenopausal time and your hormones are really off, don't feel frustrated. What you instead have to do is be a little bit more thoughtful about your sexual experience. And when I say sexual experience, I don't necessarily mean partnered. I'm talking about partnered and solo here. While you won't have as much of your spontaneous sex drive, which is really driven by hormones, you will have your receptive sex drive. Our receptive sex drive just again ties into this more thoughtful process. So my way around this is to schedule in sex, whether that's your own fun solo time or something with a partner. Put it on the calendar and make time for yourself. I always say scheduled sex is better than no sex. And if you are in need of something to spice up your solo or partnered activities, check out the amazing playlist that I linked in the screen. It covers my favorite vibrators and gives unique tips that you will not find anywhere else on how to utilize each individual vibrator. I'll see you over there.